This is GED teacher Damon Tennant, and in this video, I'm going to tell you about an exciting new addition to the online GED course. Be sure to look into the description of this video for valuable links where you can learn more. The online GED course is 13 lessons that cover all you need to know to be successful on the GED test. But now the all-new online GED course includes 13 additional pre-GED lessons. These are lessons that build your skills. So if you've been out of school for a while and you're going to jump back into math and hit some algebra, you're just going to hit a wall. But with these new courses added to the online GED course, you are going to start at a more basic level, build your skill up, and get to algebra, knock this test out, and get on with the rest of your life. And it's not just algebra, but it's also the basic reading skills. Remember reading comprehension questions? Well, on the pre-GED modules, you're going to get some basic reading instructions so that you can break down what you need to know on the science, social studies, and RLA. Remember the 5-paragraph essay? Well, you're going to get all the basics you need for your intro paragraph, your body paragraphs, and your conclusion paragraph. This is all in the pre-GED part of this course. That way, when you get into the actual course, you move through it quicker and you're more prepared and you're more sure because your basic skills are built up. Next in this video, I'm going to give you an example of one of the pre-GED lessons that is available in this new course. So here we are at the lesson on multiplication. And you might be looking at this and saying, hey, I need to get my GED. Why is this guy teaching me about multiplication? Well, the reason I'm teaching you about multiplication because it is definitely one of the core skills that you will need as you are processing through. But I'm not talking about simple multiplication, just the process alone. I'm talking about how to think about multiplication. Because in my 18-year experience of preparing people to pass the GED test, the number one question they have is, I'm not sure what to do. So when you get to a word problem, and if you don't know when to divide or when to multiply or when to add or subtract to get to the final answer, then you're still stuck. So you might know how to multiply, but if you don't understand the thinking, the concept of multiplication, you might still be stuck. And this is the number one mistake most people make. Most people just practice these multiplication questions and then go take the test. What I'm going to show you how to do is to start from the concept first, then practice these, and then wrap it up with the word problem. So let's go. So here's the core multiplication principle. When you multiply by a number greater than 1, so any number that's greater than 1 and not the number 1, the result will be a number larger than the original number. So let me say that again. That's a mouthful. When you multiply a number by a number greater than 1, the result will be a number larger than the original number. Let's take a look at how that works. So 2 times 2. Well, 2 times 2 is 4. The original number was 2. You're multiplying it by a number that's greater than 1, the number 2, and you get 4. So again, the concept there is when you're multiplying, you're making something greater. So now let's fast forward a little bit to when you're dealing with the word problem. When you're dealing with the word problem and on the GED test, these are all real world problems. So they're all real numbers. They're not made up. So the idea is that if you're being asked a question, you're going to better understand which operation to do by kind of knowing what the result might be. So, for example, if I say it takes 10 cans of paint to paint 5 rooms, I need to paint 100 rooms. Well, you know that the final answer is going to be a larger number because you're trying to paint 100 rooms. Okay, and so that's the concept. Those are the kinds of thoughts and thinking that you need when you're on this test, because it's not just the GED math test. It's actually called the GED math reasoning test. Example number 2. If you multiply 2 by 1.2, a decimal, you're going to get 2.4. So again, the original number was 2. The number it was multiplied by was 1.2, so the final answer is greater than the original number. Even though it's just a little bit greater, it's greater. So again, this concept kind of helps you to think and develop. When you get to the word problems, you're more prepared. And now you start getting into a position to know, oh, now I'm multiplying because my result's going to be larger. Let's look at this second one. When you multiply a number by a number less than 1, the result will be a number smaller than the original number. So look at the first example. 2 times 0.8. Okay, well, that ends up being 1.6. So the original number was 2. You multiplied it by a number less than 1.8, and you got 1.6, less than the original number you started out with. So for example, if I said 1/3 of the class or 0.8 of the class chose pizza, well, you know that number is going to be smaller, so that again, that kind of helps you with your conceptual thinking. You know you're doing multiplication, and that number is going to be smaller. Okay, another example here: 2 times a half. 2 times a half is 1, so the original number is 2. It's multiplied by a number less than 1, and so the result is 1, less than 2. So again, these core principles will help you with the conceptual thinking. Again, this is the GED math reasoning test, not just the GED math test. So don't get caught up in just practicing skills. Now, let's do a couple of skills just because they're here to practice. 22 times 4. So the original number is 22. We're multiplying it by a number greater than 1. We know that the final result is going to be greater. 4 times 2 is 8. And then 4 times 2 is 8. So it's 88. So again, there's some basic things here. Again, in the description of this video, you'll get this worksheet. You can use it, practice it. Let's move on. Now I want to jump into the word problems. So this is really where the rubber meets the road. And again, in this course, we start you with very basic word problems and then work you up to the more of the word problems that you're going to see on the actual GED test. So let's take a look. Jake can cycle 7 miles per hour. How far can he cycle in 5 hours? Okay, so again, you see that Jake can cycle 5 miles in 1 hour. And so the question is, he can cycle 7 miles in 1 hour. And then the question is, how far can he go in 5 hours? So again, you know you're doing multiplication because conceptually, the original number, the 1 hour, the 7 miles he can do, well, then you just multiply that by the 5 hours he intends to ride. 7 times 5 gives you 35. So again, when you have the basic concepts of what you're doing, and then you can come up here and do some of this skill practice, that will better prepare you for what you see in the written word. And then it's not just the written word, but the GED test also has charts and graphs. So you might see a chart of a piece of information here, a piece of information here, and then these are numbers here. And then you're trying to find out some information that you pull out of a chart along with the words to answer a question. So again, this kind of preparation actually prepares you to actually knock this test out of the box. I look forward to seeing you in the all new online GED course that has the 13 great lessons that it's always had, but now it is greatly enhanced with 13 new pre-GED lessons to help you have GED success in 2019 and beyond.